Hey, Exiles, welcome to another episode of the Still Sane Podcast. I am your host, Talkative Try, and I have here with me Lexd to talk all things Path of Exile 2, 0.4, The Last of the Druids, Fate of the Vaal. We are on day number 4.5 or 5, so we have our initial thoughts ready to go and share with all of you here today. Lex, let's get us started off. I want to know how far you've progressed into the game, so this entire conversation has a firm foundation for the people who are going to listen to it.
Sure.
Where are you?
So, yeah, that's totally fair. So, I am a little behind the curve, I'll say that much, because I've been a little busy this weekend. But I am reaching like the end of Act 4 now with the little playtimes I've had to hop on, etc. Um, and yeah, that's where I'm at currently. Though I am fully aware of like the current end game sentiment, which is, I'm curious to get in there and figure out myself. I know what people are thinking, and I have my own thoughts about like even the campaign version of the league mechanic, etc. But yeah, currently right now I'm at the end of Act 4, and this playthrough, the first time, we'll talk about this more, I'm sure, but the first time I broke the warrior mold to play a druid, I just wanted to try Shield Druid because, last league Shield Wall Fortifying Cry was such a strong combo. I was like, this has got to work on any class. Let's just see if we can make a fun version of it on Druid with like some of the animal forms or something. So yeah, that's currently how it's been going. I've been really enjoying it overall. But yeah, I think we'll see how it feels in the end game. I'm at the cusp, and I feel like my opinion might change a bit.
Okay, very nice. Hey, and sometimes, well, I'd actually argue all times, whenever something IRL comes up, it comes first. So yeah, no
Yeah.
need to,
Yeah.
yeah. Four acts in, that's a decent amount. I think a lot of people I've talked to are, in Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. So I think you'll relate to a lot of the people's currently experiences
Yes.
with the game.
True.
That's kind of an overarching opinion I've seen because
Yes.
in my opinion, I didn't intentionally rush through the campaign, but I went way faster than I expected. It only took me like 12 hours. I thought I was really chilling, and I'm a little upset at myself because I think the best part of the game are the Force 4 acts and the interludes. They're
Yeah.
so much more fun than the current endgame and especially the league mechanic, which we can chat about in a second. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
great to hear a differing opinion here. Now, before we get into 0.4, yeah, I'd love for you to give a little bit of a rundown for anybody who might be seeing you for the first time on who Lexd is as a Path of Exile 2 content creator, because you're relatively new, you're relatively smaller on the scene, and this might be the
True.
very first time a lot of people in the live chat or in the VOD are seeing you. So what's your content like? What's your specialty? Is there anything in particular?
Oh, really? You're trying to narrow it down a little bit? That's very well put. Good pitch there. I'll catch that. So basically, yeah, I play a ton of Shield Warrior. That's like mostly what I play. And that's kind of that's kind of how I approach a lot of games. I've always liked playing melee classes, a lot of warriors, and pretty much all the like RPG-esque games I've played. And I like learning everything I can about warriors and like everything I can about a certain style of play. So I play many variations of Shield Warrior using Shield skills, learning all about like the active block mechanics, etc. I'm really focused on like game mechanics and boss mechanics and mob mechanics and stuff like that because I have like I would say most of my background is in Souls likes, but
Okay.
yeah, I in this narrow slice of the game of Shield Warrior, that's where like all my expertise lies. So that's like most of the content on my channel is about like Shield Warriors, Shield skills, Shield tech, all this different stuff. I'm a little obsessed perhaps.
So you were probably pleased with the state of Shield Wall in last patch, right? I mean,
Well, all right. Sorry, I had a little fart there. So basically, yes, because they didn't change anything. I thought for sure. I mean, you mentioned this in one of your videos recently, where you're like the classic triple tap nerf that they love to do. I was like, oh, Shield Wall is like going to be number one or number two on the top of that list, but they didn't even touch it. They didn't touch
yep.
it at all. So it's still such a strong combo, such a strong build to use that with Fortifying Cry. It's crazy strong. Like, yeah, all you need is a high armor shield. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's just so much damage right off the bat with how it interacts. But yeah, so I was happy to see that. I was like, this is a reliable thing to pursue if I wanted to play Warrior. I could just do that again if I wanted.
And have you been playing since the very first patch, 0.1?
Yeah, I have been playing since
Okay.
0.1.
Do
Yep.
you share the common sentiment that Warrior bad, GGG needs to buff it, the downsides are too tremendous? What's your whole opinion on that? And don't be afraid to, give it straight. If you do disagree with the general sentiment, go in on it. I'm curious to hear from a
This
Warrior main, because that's a
all right,
very
all right.
rare occasion where I talk to a Warrior main.
Yes. Listen. All right. Listen. So, as I said earlier, I have like a Dark Souls like background, and all of those games are all about throwing yourself in the most challenging, unfair situations possible. So playing warrior, it felt kind of at home for me because I was at a disadvantage. I was like, "Oh, this feels great. How hard this is." I was like, "This is so brutal," and I kind of liked it. And I think in that sense I do share the sentiment because I was like, "This definitely feels harder." I played like a sorceress just very briefly recently, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like so much easier." Like just being at range and nuking things at range and not having to like get close to bosses. Like this is like I see why people play these ranged classes in action RPGs, but I personally just always like melee. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's my answer.
Okay, no, yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. As a Dark Souls non-enjoyer, I have tried, dude. I tried Elden Ring 4 or 5 hours, dude. I'm just like I'm bad. I'm not skilled enough.
Oh,
I
it's
threw
rough.
myself that first camp when you get out of the tutorial area, and I think it's you walk to the left, and
Hmm.
there's
Hmm.
like the dude with the spear and all that.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
3 hours. I'm just trying to kill, and
That
I'm like, oh,
I'm
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go, and I couldn't do it.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but yeah, I think that's like the tutorial camp, and it is really brutal. I mean, it's brutal if you've never played a Souls. Like I
I
was like, I
haven't.
kind of understood what you have to do,
I
but
haven't.
it is very brutal for anybody who doesn't play Souls. Like, I mean, so let me share you real quick my first Souls experience.
Okay.
So back in Dark Souls 1, I was like still in college, and the marketing for that game was awesome because it was so brutal. They're like, "Oh, prepare to die." It's like, you're gonna die a million times. I was like, I have been looking for a difficult game. I've been looking for this. I've been playing things. They've been feeling a little easy. Let's try it out. I got so mad, like like at like all the boss fights. I was like, "Why is it this difficult?" I kid you not. I got stuck on one of the earliest bosses. They're called the Twin Gargoyles. I incorporated that boss fight into my workout routine because I needed to get the anger out somehow. So I started just doing tons of push-ups between boss attempts.
No way.
I kid you not, and I got really buff, but like I did so many push-ups, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was so brutal. But when you finally beat that boss, when you finally beat the boss, there's like no feeling like it in on any other game. That's when I got addicted. I was like, it's just a feeling of elation, really. Like you finally beat this incredibly difficult thing. And that's when it like a light turned on my head. I was like, oh, I get it. That's what this game is about. That
Yep.
it's so brutal, and then you overcome this challenge. And it just like warped me for the rest of my gaming career. I seek those highs now, like really
Right.
brutal challenges that I can like overcome.
Yeah, you're just so elated when you eventually beat that.
Hmm.
I totally get that. See, I was never introduced to those until very late in my gaming career, so maybe that's
Hmm.
why I don't relate to them as much, and I give up quicker, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like with I also tried Dark Souls 1 recently.
Hmm.
Last year I tried it for
Hmm.
the first time because
Hmm.
a lot of people said, "Okay, Elden Ring's not your stuff. Maybe try Dark Souls 1." That's where it all began. Dude, I'm just a bad gamer. Legit thought I think it's called the Asylum Demon. I thought you had to
Yes.
beat it with the hilt of your sword.
Oh my god, yes,
1
exactly, 'cause it
hour.
jumps.
1 hour. And then I like realized I saw there was a passage and I'm like, what was this passage? And with torches, and I'm like, no way, dude. There's a sword. I could not believe it. I
Yes, yes. You
oh
get your real weapon after that. You're supposed to run
yes.
away. That's so funny. They don't make that's how brutal it is. They don't make that clear. And whoever told you to try Dark Souls 1 instead of Elden Ring, shame on you, man. That's
Oh,
like Dark Souls is way clunkier and way harder, in my
really?
opinion, at least, to
Oh,
learn than Elden Ring. Yes, Elden Ring gives you so much more freedom. Dark Souls is like,
okay.
oh my god, it's so clunky, and it's Elden Ring is clearly the more polished game. So
See, so
whoever said that,
maybe it's Elden
yeah.
Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. Those are the two. Rainy day, my kids are on like vacation somewhere during the work week. I couldn't take PTO. Maybe that's when I give them a go again because
Mm,
those are two games that my friends have said you need to play these two. You need to give them a
they're
proper
good.
chance, but I've never invested the time available to give them that proper
You know
chance.
what? You know what?
So,
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just try to beat the Asylum Deal. Just for starters, just see what happens and how you feel after you overcome that challenge.
okay.
That's what it becomes addictive, you know?
Okay. All right. All right, I'll give it a go. That was a
Sure.
good little interlude. Now let's fly
Yes.
back to some PoE2 discussion. So,
Yes.
returning to this current league, you are in Act 4, so you played a good chunk, and you're playing a shield variation of Druid. Could you kind of explain to everybody what you're trying to do there? I assume you have like a shield wall skill, and then what's the
Yep.
Druid mixture you're kind of inserting into
Yeah,
this
yeah,
build?
That's a great question. So it started out unsurprisingly very weird. I was I was trying to I was basically playing Shield Warrior as the Druid. I was using just bone shatter based skills, just very warrior coded. And eventually I was like, this is feeling okay, but it's not really working. It's like because Druid feels like a really good damage dealer early on, actually, but kind of doesn't feel that tanky. So to be pure melee feels not great in my opinion. And eventually, I was like, all right, I need to incorporate shapeshifting, I think, because people are saying how good it feels. So I incorporated bear form, and that just felt awesome, because before, as a shield warrior, one of the best single target DPS things you can do on a lot of bosses and just targets in general is honestly Mace Strike. If you spam Mace Strike with like rapid attacks and like rage on it or something, you build up damage really quickly. And it can, even when bosses are like heavy stunned, you just spam auto attack, you do plenty of damage. It's kind of crazy. But one thing that early on that was really nice is that the bear swipes kind of replaced that. The bear swipe DPS is better than Mace Strike DPS, and it felt really, really good. And I loved using like morphing into a bear for the single target DPS. Using the volcanoes, the bear slams, etc. All that stuff felt really good to me. I was like, okay, let's incorporate bear form into this for a little bit to help clear. And as I progressed the game, still a little clunky, and I got to Shield Wall, and this is where the build kind of started coming together for me a little bit. Um, because the bear slam is like a single big slam ability that can instantly detonate your shield wall. Your shield wall just blows up with any slam skill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's you can kind of see what's coming together is I would just put shield walls down and bear slam them, and it just does tons of damage. Like it's crazy. Even in Act 4 now, the damage has scaled up even more to I've actually done over 60% of a boss's health bar in that one combo where I just shield wall bear slam. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. And it has to do with all the nodes where it's like, get this much more damage when you're shapeshifted recently in an animal form, get this much crit when you've shapeshifted in animal form, all this stuff. So that's kind of where the build is now. And
Okay.
it's just like bear form, shield wall. I throw fortifying cry in there sometimes, but honestly, the bear form slam has been hitting harder than fortifying cry with the shield walls, at least currently. So that's kind of the build I've been running to kill bosses. And then I just, when I'm clearing, I obviously just use the bear form slam and maybe a little resonating here and there, etc.
Okay. Yeah, I remember some of the first clips I saw from your channel where you just blowing up bosses with shield wall. And I was just like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. It was not on my radar at all that shield wall was this powerful. And I saw some of
Mhm.
those clips. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
this is wild that stuff like this exists and it just hasn't even
Yes.
blipped at all. Nobody's
Right.
talking about it at all. I hear
Right. Right.
warrior bad, mace bad, and meanwhile, you get a good shield and you are just popping the bosses. Now, on this, does the clear suffer a little bit on shield wall builds? Is it a little clunkier and the bosses are just really satisfying? You got to get big payoff there, or would you argue that it feels pretty good staying
No,
on
I
this?
think I think you're probably onto something. I think the clearing is okay. Like it's not super slow to me, but it's not like very fast because I'm using resonating shield. Right now on the druid. I'm using resonating shield, and the
Okay.
new support gem called Deadly Resolve, which is actually really strong. I don't know how many people here or in chat have used it, but it's actually really good. It like deals damage based on your armor. Based on how long you've been channeling something. So when things hit you, they just die from the swipe that appears just randomly. It's really bizarre. But if you're channeling Resonating Shield and just standing there, it will swipe things for you if they hit you. So it's
Ooh.
kind of like a pseudo thorns a little bit. It's like really, really good. And on top of that, for fun, you can actually switch into bear form after you've channeled this for a bit, and the buff will persist, and you can sit there in bear form, and the swipe will keep going as things hit you. It's like really interesting. So that part I do like, but overall, I mean, I've seen other builds where there's no mobility. Unfortunately, you got shield charge. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
throw pounce in there, but the mobility I think is where I suffer. I don't really invest too much into that, and I should. But yeah, the clear's decent, I would say. But really, the boss killing is kind of where I get the most satisfaction.
Right.
So that's where a lot of the build is like specialized for.
That new support sounds really compelling potentially with Rampage on the bear, because that's a channeling ability too. You get a crap
Mhm.
load of armor in bear form. I don't know if it works with Rampage, but
True.
when you were talking about that, I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, you have tons of armor, you're channeling, and while you're slamming, you're also swiping out. That would be kind of cool. I don't know if
That
it,
definitely try it. Yeah, that sounds like it
yeah,
could be good.
I might have to take a look at it. That's super
Yeah.
cool. Now, you also mentioned that you've tried Sorceress in the past. Is trying something outside the bounds of shields, warriors, out is that outside of the scope of what you enjoy or that you want to focus on in your channel? Because obviously they added a bunch of new stuff too with this update with like the wolf form and stuff like that. Has any of that
Yes.
potentially wanted to draw you away, or you are on the warrior
That's
style.
yeah, no, I get you. That's a good question. I'm just so like melee slash warrior coded, so not really. I just really like, and this kind of took, this is how I approached Path of Exile 2 in general.
Yeah.
But when I'm not like the most well versed in all action RPGs. I played like the big ones like Diablo 2 through 4. I played actually the first Path of Exile way back in the day, back when like Dominus was the last boss, who I think was the Act 3 boss. So I was
Yeah.
playing way back.
Right.
Yeah, and that's like the majority of my ARPG experience. Um, oh shoot, where was I going with this? What was the original question? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, all good. Like, are you honing in on warrior, only
Oh,
warrior? Do you
that's
want
right.
to experiment at all outside the
That's
bounds
right.
of that? Yeah.
So I was thinking about all those experiences and all
Yeah.
those action RPGs, and what stood out to me is like, what is the most frustrating thing in these games? It's getting one shot towards the end game. I feel like most of the time you're just getting obliterated very quickly. And I was like, I think I'm going to play tankier this time around. Damage has never been an issue. It's always me getting one shot. So let me try. I'm going to slap a shield on and just make it work. I'm going to play a tanky boy this time around. And that's kind of where it all started. I was like, oh, this actually feels good. You can actually play with a shield, invest in a lot of defenses, but still do a lot of damage playing this game. And I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that style of play. I like that they give you that option to like, hey, you can just invest in your shield, and your shield is the thing that's going to do the
Yeah.
majority of your damage while also protecting you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be really sick to see that expanded too as they bring in stuff like the Templar. I know that's probably going to be a
Oh,
shield
yep.
focus with
Yep.
their flails and all that. So I think the future for shield and sword and board is pretty bright in PoE2, especially if you already
Absolutely.
like the current repertoire of stuff you can do with maces.
Hmm.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about 0.4, and I know you haven't experienced a ton of Fate of the Val. Up to Act 4 so far, what are your thoughts on Fate of the Val? Not colored by anything you may have heard me chatting about before the spot. What do you
Sure.
think about it so far?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So I like to maintain an objective opinion also, but like it does unfortunately match up with a lot of what people said. So I'll tell you what I think. Druid is awesome. I really like how Druid feels. The shape shifting feels very good, aside for like a few kind of annoying bugs. Yeah, there's a few bugs that kind of stand out to me, but there's that. So Druid feels really good. That's like the best part of this patch so far. Um, the league mechanic through the campaign has felt really good too, actually. You get I think this is the best geared I've ever been through the campaign, because you get all these options and you're like, hey, this is not just an exalted orb, this is a bench you need to use now. And I was like, okay, I'll just use it and just upgrade my gear. So that was kind of fun. um, but at the same time, that it's a little buggy. That whole thing is just strange to me, because it's like they're not enough checkpoints, first off, which I thought was a little strange. I'm like, why aren't there more checkpoints around here? They recently, I don't know if this can't be intentional, but you can't portal out of the temple anymore. It's like, why did that happen? I would just be able to leave, and it saves me time. I don't know why that happened. So I don't think that's intentional. I hope they fix that. Um, yeah, and the blocks themselves, the temple blocks themselves aren't super intuitive to me. I'm like, I have these pathing nodes, these pathing blocks that I can't even place down because it just doesn't make sense to put them anywhere. And it's not super clear to me. I don't hate the mechanic, but it is very even through the campaign, as much as I'm enjoying it, it just feels a little clunky to me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it throughout the campaign. It felt simple enough, and like you said, it was helping me upgrade my gear. Best geared I've ever felt. It was also probably the smoothest campaign that I've ran through. Maybe some of
For
that can
sure.
be attributed to the bear and that being strong, but my gear was also quite powerful. I was exalting. I was max qualitying. That's not a word.
Yes.
Whatever, we'll make it up. It's like
I
burninating.
understand.
I was qualitying my gear. It was like 16 to 20%. It was awesome.
Hmm.
Lots of damage. And then personally, when I hit the end of the campaign into maps, you stopped interacting with it nearly as much. I feel like when you're placing the blocks and when you go in, you don't get your rewards, the rewards that were kind of pitched. It's big, like you said. It's hard to traverse. You're not getting anything, and everything, like you said, it does not feel intuitive. I might just be dumb, but it's too complicated for me. And I know if it's too complicated for me, it's too complicated for a lot of other players. It's one of those mechanics where and I don't do this in games. I was thinking, man, do I want to like look at, like, am I messing up this badly because I'm not getting anything? Do I need to view a YouTube like Fate of the Val Temple guide? I
Right.
literally think this, and I never think like that. But I'm in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, there's no way this is intended. right?
Mhm.
Because that was one of the big worries, that it was going to be a lootless mechanic and everything was going to be
Right.
baked into the crafting. But even the crafting, I'm not getting a lot of presently. So I've been
Right.
thoroughly
Right.
unimpressed with it, unfortunately. And I agree with you. The
Mhm.
Druid, despite bugs, that's part of the patch by
Oh, yeah.
far. Big W. I'm glad it's finally in the
Yes.
game. Hope those bugs will get ironed out. But this Fate of the Vaal mechanic has been an L, and the performance. I got to ask you about that too. How has your performance been? Mine's worse than zero point 0.3. FPS improvements, but I'm getting crashes. I'm getting like tons of bugs. I'm
Yeah.
freezing up my screen. This
Yep.
did not happen in 0102 or 03 for that matter. Is that the
Yes.
same for you
That's
or
that. Yeah, exactly the same story. I am the FPS is better. I'm crashing randomly. I'm getting crashes a lot of times when I like interact with things or I start like a chest event or something on a map or on a like a campaign map, etc. Yeah, that's been crashing for me. And the rendering issues too. I don't know if they fixed those, but in the Vaal Temple, I could just see through the ground in some areas. I'm like, that is what's down there? you know,
theory
You're
for
right.
dungeon?
The shortcut, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep. Okay. So, man, I'm what do you think about the whole building out this obviously some people are saying it's not a lot of work in. I think they put a lot of work into this league, but it's just fell completely flat. What do you think about focusing on adding new leagues like this, like mini game leagues versus purely foundational content, either leagues or just another act to the campaign or getting that end
Right.
game like built out with more breach bosses? And what do you think the reasoning is there, and do you agree or disagree with it, with what they're doing?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I think even Dead Rabbit expressed this in the last pod that you
Yeah,
did. But it's like I think Jonathan said that you need to have a league mechanic to bring players back or
he
something.
did.
I'm like, you know, yeah, I don't know if that's true because if you were to announce 0.4 as being like, hey, we have a totally new end game. We're delivering on our promise. Everything's changed, etc. They list off all these crazy changes. That would feel as refreshing as a new league mechanic. I'd be like, oh my God, I need to get to the end game. I'd want to play that. That would bring players back, in my opinion, at least. So yeah, again, being in early access, you can hype up different updates. It doesn't have to be a league mechanic, brand new end game, brand new acts, etc. And it will bring people back. You don't need the new league mechanic. It's fine. Like the league mechanic, I'm still enjoying well enough. But yeah, I agree with the sentiment that like you guys can just focus on these different aspects and still hype it up, and it'll still bring people back. So yeah, I would have preferred if they did spend more time in the end game and deliver it. But at the same time, I'm not a game dev, and I don't know what they have in the books. So maybe
Yeah.
it's just growing. In scope, it is growing, and it's going to be even more amazing. So I'm just going to wait for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge I think they really love delivering a bunch of buried content, and they pride themselves
True.
in inserting non-ARPG, non-combat-y stuff into the game, like this little mini game. And I think that especially Jonathan, who was like, hey, I coded this myself. Hey, I based it on Looper Hero or Loop Hero,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they like to gamify PoE, and they've done this for years very successfully in PoE 1. I just think that as I ponder over it more and more, because I took a day off from streaming yesterday to really think about it. So weird taking a day off to think about my thoughts on a video game. My God, but it's like the if the game had a better foundation, if it was more built out, I think this would have been pretty well received. But that's not the
Hmm.
case, and people are kind of bored with the loop. They're not impressed with this, and there's not other stuff to do. And that's why there's a lot of upset on the temple. I do think that there is salvaging available here. I think if they, honestly, decrease the size of the temple, make rooms more rewarding, make base loot in the temple better, stuff like that, I think that
Right.
it's salvageable. But as it stands right now, I just don't think it's fun. And
Yeah.
as a lover of the game, as someone who has basically always said,
Clearly,
yeah, I love it. I've
toxic positive try. I've
I've had a
heard.
ton of fun. I am legit not having fun in the end game with that Fate of the Val mechanic. It's the
Yeah.
Druid that's holding up this entire patch for me, man, which is it's a crazy place to be in. I've not been in this. We've been a year of early access, man. I've not felt like
Yeah.
that truly. 4 days into the league. 4 days, man. I'm saying that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I know that's
You know?
pretty early, and that's rough to
Right.
feel that way so early on. And
Right.
yeah, man, from what I've read, I'm not in the end game yet, but
Right.
I'm
I know.
sure
I'm
I
sorry.
will come across it. No, it's fine. But I'm sure I will come across the same feeling where it's like you want to optimize a bit in this genre of game, right? So
Mm,
if you're going through the temple and the loot's not worth it, you're spending all this time for loot that just isn't worth it. It's like, why would I do this? I'll
yeah.
just run like a juiced map or something.
Yeah. Okay. So flashing back a little bit from 0.4, now that we've given it a thorough take, how has your opinion on the game overall evolved from 0.1 to now? I know we're revisiting the past here, but I've not talked to you one on one before. People watching may not
True.
have heard you talk. What has your opinion been of like 0.2, 0.3? Like, have you always been fundamentally enjoying the game? Has anything major stood out to you that might clash with the general community sentiment?
That's a good question. I mean, overall, so I probably am biased at this point because I really like the game, and it does have its ups and downs. I think 0.3 is probably my favorite the game has felt. Like
Ditto.
that felt really good. Abyss, etc. Yeah, that was awesome. I really like that league mechanic, and they did a great job with that. It all felt really good and fleshed out, etc. It was great. I really like 0.3. 0.2 was Dawn of the Hunt, I think, and I
Yep.
remember that being, it was fine. It was fine. I think wisps were kind of whatever. And it was just it was all right. But again, I didn't hate it, so it's kind of been like up and down. I never
Yeah.
really hated the game. I never have not enjoyed myself, but overall, I've really enjoyed it. And you know, at the same, it doesn't have to be hitter after hitter. Sometimes it's going to be kind of a mid league, maybe.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like whatever. We're focusing on other stuff. So we're just simmering a little bit before a big flare up in 0.5, which is okay by me, but there is, still clearly some stuff to be addressed. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I would say overall, I really like the game. It's been up and down, but I've never like disliked it.
Right. And you've played a good set of other ARPGs, right? Is that alongside Souls-like games? Is that kind of your genre of choice when it comes time to sit down and play
Oh
games?
man. I hop around a lot.
Oh, okay.
Souls like is probably my favorite, but I've played like all sorts of stuff. I played there's a period in my life where I was playing a ton of Hearthstone and like card games. I played Hearthstone and Gwent and Marvel Snap even. Um, yeah, I hop around a lot, I would say. But if I had to choose two, it's probably Souls like and action RPGs. Some I used to play some shooters, but eventually I feel like mortality's catching up with me, and my reaction time isn't very good in those games anymore. So
Yeah.
I kind of stray away from shooters. I was playing a ton of Dark and Darker. I don't know if you ever played any of the extraction shooter genre, but Dark and Darker was like a fantasy version of that. And for all the crap that people give GGG, that is an example of a dev team that is not good. That is very incompetent. I don't want to talk too much crap about them, but that
Yeah.
is like the slowest sinking ship I've ever seen in any game community I was involved with. I actually used to make content on Dark and Darker,
Okay.
and it was a fun game, and that's where I was kind of first experimenting with like more serious content creation. But oh my god, I can't fake it. Like I can't fake enthusiasm. So if I'm not enjoying the game, I'm not going to play it. And I
Yep.
eventually just made a goodbye video. Essentially, I was like, hey, I'm going to take a break because I think they're doing a bad job.
What happened with that game? Why were they sinking? Was it like microtransactions, game design, just overall bad
That's a
decisions?
It's like it's a mix of like, well, so here's, yeah, GGG. They will listen to community feedback and make adjustments, etc. And they will
Yeah.
also stick to their guns and kind of let the community simmer with something for a bit, and then be like, oh, okay, this is not as bad as we thought it was, etc. Dark and Darker, those devs would implement so many bizarre changes, and it was like sometimes the community outcry would be so bad they'd be like, okay, we reverted this change. It's like, okay, good. But they would do this like every patch, so it was like literally like a step forward and two steps back every patch. They would like, there's a meme in that community where there's a barbarian class, and they have this like passive talent that gives them a little bit of damage. It was like 3 to axes or something like that. They change it in a patch, it's like 5 to axes, and then next patch back down to 3 to axes, 3 extra damage. Next patch back up to 5 damage. They literally kept flip-flopping on this number, and people were like, why are you doing this? You don't just leave it at 3. You don't need to keep buffing it. It's too strong when it's at 5. Like, why do they keep experimenting with this? And yeah, it's just, I feel like they were a little too quick to pull the trigger on community, like when
They were
people would,
indecisive. Like they didn't have that.
yeah.
I know it's a meme, but the vision. They didn't have a clear vision for their
Th
game,
yes,
and you're right.
that
Yeah.
as much of a meme as that is totally accurate. The lead guy there does not have a very clear vision for what the game is, or he does, and he's being so stubborn about it that he's like just implementing all these changes to try and fit it, and then reverting the ones that people are angry about. It's like very strange. It's just so
Okay.
directionless, is how I describe it.
Okay. And you mentioned you got your start doing dark and darker content. Why did you start making videos? Is there any specific reason? Just for the heck of it? You wanted to side hustle? What was going on?
Just for fun. Like if I'm really enjoying a game, and I want to like, if I'm, it's either like for entertainment or if I want to like teach people about it. Because again, as I talked about earlier, I like to take these deep dives into games and learn everything I can about how I play, or if it's a card game, a certain deck, and I like to instruct people on how to play it. Perhaps if they're interested in making a guide, or if something super memey happens, I want to make a video on that too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, if it's, and it has to be a game that I'm digging. If I'm passionate about the game, that's when I start making content on it. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that started actually way back. The first video I ever made was a World of Warcraft video back
Oh
in the Burning
boy.
Crusade. Yeah, the Burning Crusade, when that first came out, I found a hilarious bug with one of the warrior abilities in that game, and that was the first time I attempted to upload a video. I got it on YouTube. I used Fraps, and the frame rate was terrible, and it was super. It looked like a moving JPEG. It was so bad.
Yeah.
but I had Scatman playing in the background while this was happening. It was so ridiculous. But that was the first video I ever made. I don't know if it's still out there, but
Hey.
yeah, that's a game I played a ton. I just wanted to make a video on it because I thought it was funny. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of fun making videos. And I kind of
Yeah.
returned to it periodically. But yeah, I mean, Path of Exile 2, most recently, I really love the game. So I've been making content on it.
Are you kind of like me, where this is something you do on the side? You have like another job and everything too. Yeah.
Yep. Yep, that's right. Yeah, that's
Nice.
exactly right. I have like a full-time job that I'm doing, and I have obviously have a family, so
Yep.
that takes up a lot of my time. And then I'm sure you can relate, but after the kiddo goes down, I'm like, okay, time to play, time to record, time to video edit, and I'm probably staying up way later than I should, and then rinse and repeat.
100%. It's early in the morning or very, very, very late at night after my wife
Yes.
is
Yep.
like passed out or reading or something, and both my kids hopefully are asleep. How do you
Yeah.
juggle it? Is it just nighttime stuff, or like are you able to sometimes, like for this weekend, did you play launch day,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
like, hey, could I play a
Yes,
little
yes,
bit
yes.
extra today?
Well, I have just a random question for you.
Yeah.
You said that you will often work on videos, etc., late at night after your wife has gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you like have to sneak into the bedroom and be extra quiet so that you don't wake her up or anything when it's
It's
time for you to go to sleep?
It's her, but it's mostly my 18-month-old who still is in the crib
Yes.
next to us.
Mhm.
She's the one that's a light sleeper,
Yep.
man. I have to
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
like a ghost slipping into bed, because if
Yes.
I
Yes.
squeak on like a floorboard, or if I bump like into a bookshelf, or if I plug in my phone and I don't muffle the ding sound, oh my, it's over, and it's bad.
Exactly.
So yeah,
It's so
I do
funny.
have to
I'm
do that.
so aware of like the ground, like of my bedroom and where the creaky parts are. So I have to like play like it's a minefield at night and make sure I step at the right corners. I should just mark the ground, honestly,
Truly,
because
truly.
I went through the same thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. But yeah, for me, I mean, wait, sorry. There was a question before that. What was the question? My brain
Is
is
it
a
is
little
it mostly
scattered.
just at nighttime? Are you able to like
Mhm.
say, do you like say, oh, I'm gonna step away, I'm gonna play for a little bit, or is it mostly at nighttime for you? Because I used to say like, hey, sweetie, could I play like an hour while they're awake and stuff? But
Mhm.
I don't do that anymore usually. League launches are the only exception, but now it's just all at nighttime. It's all like, because I feel like I want to be there, with them
Yes,
doing
it's
stuff.
fair.
I've
Totally fair.
especially
Feel
felt
that
that
too.
more like the past like 4 or 5 months. I feel like the past few days, right? I took off to stream mostly, and my wife, and it was like a really innocent, like offhand comment. It was like, oh, it's really, it sucks that you have to take PTO from your job and then you're gone half the day streaming and doing like another
Mhm.
job. And it hit me like really hard. And then there was like a really nice moment at church. And I thought, man, you're so right. What am I doing? Like, I should not be spending half the time. So we scheduled a bunch of stuff that, we can do together instead. And I was like, minimal time streaming, minimal time, like while they're awake this week,
Yes.
especially. Do you feel that way as well? Like, something that used to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to sneak away, I'm going to play for a little bit. But now, 3 years in, I don't do that anymore. Very
Right,
rarely.
right. Well, Yeah, I just want to comment on that real quick. That's like a very adult thing to do and what you should do. I feel like a lot of people, well, no, people will often, I've heard the sentiment before where they're like, oh man, once you have kids, you have no free time. It's all over. Your dreams are dead, etc. I've heard this over and over again. I just want to say that like, that's not true. Like when they're a newborn, they nap all the time. And that's when you have your free time. When they're napping, they nap all the time. You get a lot of time in there. You have to talk to your partner, arrange times, just communicate and create a schedule, perhaps, etc. Things like that. Just be really transparent about it. That's totally what you do. So kudos to you. That's the right thing to do. I
Yeah.
really like hearing that. But for me, as you were asking, yes, it's mostly at night these days. She does take a midday nap around like 2-ish, so she's probably down now,
Wow.
or maybe around 3. It kind of depends, but
Yeah.
usually that's when I try to hop on for a bit. It's usually when she's napping that I get a little extra time in. And yeah, that's where it is. It's usually that midday nap and at night. If I get up early enough, which pretty much never happens, very rarely, once in a blue moon, I will hop on maybe for a little bit, but it's mostly just at night.
Did you ever, as a dad, did you ever play with her like in a wrap? Playing games, because that was something like where you could wrap her around while she's sleeping. You could like have her here while playing, because that's something people said. Yeah, you can just play video games while she's taking a nap, and if she doesn't go down in her crib, you can just put her in a wrap, and then you can just play. I never was able to do that. I'm curious if other people.
For me,
Oh,
she would actually nap on top of me, like downstairs, and I would play a console game when she was right on top of me. I would
ah,
keep the sound all the way down, but I'd play like games. I'd play like an Elden Ring, like I think the Elden Ring
yeah,
DLC or something like that, and I
okay,
just I just play, just for fun. And she was chilling. I was like, this is good. This is good.
okay. You
Or
said
actually, no, I was actually playing Path of Exile a little bit too, I think, on the
really on
console. If
console?
my timeline matches up, because I was like, I need to get more experience on the Shield Warrior, so I'd like use that time while she was napping on top of me to just test out some different stuff on
There
the
you go.
console version of the
Yeah, there you
game.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
How does the console version play? I've not like how does controller play, I guess. Does it do you think it plays pretty smoothly, or prefer mouse and keyboard WSD?
I Yeah, I definitely prefer mouse and keyboard,
Okay.
but the controller does feel good. Like it feels really good. I just like the performance. It's ironic, but the performance better on the PC.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
because like visually, it kind of looks a little weird sometimes on the console. I haven't played it recently, to be fair, on the console, but yeah, I prefer PC. But it feels pretty good on the console. Is how I chalk it up.
Okay, quickly back to kids. You said your daughter's 19 months. My oldest is
Mhm.
3. When do you plan on introducing her to games? Do you have any plan? Have you thought about this at all? Is it something you're gonna wait a while to do? Because I'm at 3 and I'm contemplating. Do I try Mario? Do like
Mhm.
we could play Mario Party together? I bet she could probably get that. Or do I
Yeah,
wait?
yeah.
I don't know, because once it happens, I mean, maybe all floodgates are just gone, and maybe she's just in, addicted, loving. Dad, I want to play Mario. Dad, I want to play this game. Let's
Right.
play Zelda.
Right.
I don't know if I should wait until she's older, because she's really not interested. Like, she'll watch movies, but she's not interested. We don't do iPads or anything with her, so she's not interested in like virtual stuff yet. She really likes playing with her
Right.
toys. She likes going outside. She likes reading, and I don't know if I would be making a mistake introducing her to games early, because I was introduced to games really early by my parents. I turned out okay, but I definitely like video games more than other things for the
Right.
most
Right.
part.
Yeah, yeah. I would say we in my head, like we try to keep her away from screens as much as possible. And even
Yeah.
these days, I show her like sometimes some stuff on the phone. Like I'll show her a picture of herself, or we'll video chat with my parents. But just
Yep.
seeing how
Yep.
attached she gets at that age to a screen, I'm like, okay, we can't do too much of this. I'm gonna keep this away as much as possible because it's not good, I don't think, to have your kids look at too many screens, especially up close
Preach.
at their face. They should be like interacting with the world, etc. So as much of a gamer and as much as I like to stare at screens, I keep her pretty much away from them.
Yeah.
But I think that at around age 5, from what I understand, I'd probably start introducing her. I mean, I'm gonna start off with Dark Souls, like straight up. If she can make it through that,
Hey.
I
Yeah.
think she's gonna be set for life.
There you go. There you
But
go.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She'd probably be turned off to video games forever. But
Hey, my first
um,
game was like Baldur's Gate 1. When I was,
oh, there you
yeah,
go.
like
That's
I
pretty.
would
That's
read through the
pretty intricate.
dialogue when I was a little kid with my dad. So
Interesting. My first game
that I remember.
was Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo, and that
Oh,
was like that was such a mind blowing experience, man. Like I remember my dad, who probably regrets it, honestly. I mean, he's probably fine with it now, but he bought this Super Nintendo with Donkey Kong Country one Christmas, and I was just so amazed by it. It was just
yeah.
like, oh man, that I will never forget that game. That was just like the soundtrack was amazing. The visuals for the time I thought was really cool. It had a really cool art style. Yeah, just a great game.
Were
Oh,
you
and just as a quick aside, I wanted to say real quick, it's just funny. I remember, I don't think this is a popular sentiment anymore, but people have said like they question whether or not video games are art and stuff like that. And I always think about that game as an example because I from that moment when I was that young, I thought video games were art because I was like, I mean, look at this game. So you have Donkey Kong Country, right? Just take away the game portion, take away everything except for the soundtrack. What is the soundtrack? Everybody agrees music is art. So that alone is pretty good music, I would say. That's art right there. So you're telling me that adding on the video game portion and the visuals makes that not art? I never bought that argument. And that game, that's why I think that game was so mind blowing to me. I was like, this is a new form of art. And I got
yeah.
really like sucked into it.
They're one of the coolest forms of art because they combine all other forms of art together in an interactive
Mhm.
experience. That is a crazy argument. I actually have heard that said offhand. I didn't know it was like a popular, like people believe this because it's like music.
Yeah.
It's audio, it's visual. Then you get to interact as well. I mean, I don't know if you played Clear Obscure, but that is
I've heard
masterpiece
all
level
about it.
art.
Heard all
Heard
about
all
it.
about it?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, dude, it's so
It's on the list.
good.
It's on the list.
Oh.
I have played a game that people say it reminds them of, which is Lost Odyssey. This is kind of like an obscure,
Okay.
like JRPG for
Okay.
the Xbox 360, which
Okay.
it's also very beautiful. But I mean, this game swept all the awards. So I'm like, this is
Hey,
on the list. I will play it.
it's art, man. But the
Yes, I
soundtrack
believe it.
will, I don't know
Yeah.
how long I'll be playing it, but it's gonna be a while. I'm still playing.
Yes,
Hey,
for
I
sure.
completed it in May. We're 7 months out, say 8 months out from May. I'm still playing it. I'm still playing it every single day on stream, in private. My daughter knows the lyrics to Lumiere.
That's
Which is
great.
just hilarious. She does not has no clue what she's saying, but she sings bum ba dee da. It's like it's the
That's all you
funniest
need.
stuff.
That's all you need, man. She
Yeah.
knows the melody. It's good. It's
Yes,
good.
she does. Yeah, it's very catchy. So highly recommend that.
For
I,
sure.
I wanted to ask earlier, did you play the new Donkey Kong game, the Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch? Or yeah, the
No,
Switch?
I have not.
No?
I've heard
Okay.
good things. The
Okay.
most recent one I did play though was Tropical Freeze, which I think was
Hmm.
on the Switch, I think, or it might have been like the console before that. But I played Tropical Freeze because I heard, I mean, it's funny that I was talking about music, but they brought back the original music composer for that game. I was like, oh man, I gotta play this one because
Oh,
I love the music so
always
much. And
good.
I played it. It's
Yeah.
awesome, really good platformer, really difficult platformer actually. So I really like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was the last one I played. Really good game. I don't think I've seen like a bad Donkey Kong game. So, I'm
Okay.
a big fan.
Okay, so Lex, bookending this discussion, we just took a wonderful dad gamer aside. I hope some of you guys enjoyed that, dad gamers out there. I always ask first time guests on the pod a very specific question. And now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't ask Dead Rabbit yesterday. RIP Dead Rabbit. But it's related to Path of Exile too. It's you
Sure.
putting on the game developer hat. You're Jonathan, you're Mark, you're the new leader of GGG, and you have the entire design team
Oh
behind
boy.
you. What
Sure.
do you add to PoE2? It can be something as little as I don't know, a monster, or as large as a Fate of the Vaal, but good sized leak mechanic. What would you do?
Interesting. So for me, and this kind of relates to the end game stuff, but for me, again, being like a souls brain coded person, I really like bosses. I would love more pinnacle bosses to try and conquer, because right now, the way I progress through the game, I get to the end game, I start progressing and doing like the tier one, tier two, tier three versions of each like end game event. And then once I hit tier four Arbiter and beat Arbiter, that's I'm like, okay, I feel like this character's done. That and like the simulacrum. Once I hit those two things, I'm like, okay, I'm good. It can conquer everything that's in the game, and it doesn't take that long for me to get there a lot of the time. So I'm like, even like as a more casual player, so I'm like, I
Right.
want more pinnacle bosses, something a little more pinnacle bosses to pursue, more of that stuff in the end game. I love fighting bosses. I love boss mechanics, etc. I don't know if there's a hot take, but I actually really like the Arbiter of Ash fight because the music is
Oh,
so wild. The mechanics are kind of cheap at first, but once you learn them, you know how to avoid them. That's very classic. Like again, that's a very Souls-like thing. You learn all the boss mechanics, even the cheap ones that kill you immediately, and eventually you can conquer them. And it's like, yeah, I get satisfaction out of that again. So for me, it would be just more pinnacle bosses to pursue. Yeah, that's how I'd put it.
I can agree with you on that. Nazgul boss win, probably in 0.5. We'll get that guy
Yeah,
that flies away
right,
after taking the
exactly.
seed. Now,
Yep.
here's in addition to that question, you could take a boss from the Souls universe or Elden Ring and drop it into PoE2. Kind of what boss would you choose? What's your favorite boss in in that
Oh
world?
man,
You
there's
have one?
no way I can choose one.
Oh,
There's no way I
okay,
can
one
choose
that
one.
you
That's
like.
crazy. That's a
Okay.
crazy
All
one.
right, come on. It doesn't have to be your favorite, but like, what's one that always stood out to you as either really difficult or just entertainingly fun? I know you mentioned the Gargoyle Demons were your first like big stopper. They got you ripped when you were younger. So, any others that stand out?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm trying to think of like which ones would be coolest for like
Yeah.
an action RPG.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like honestly, what comes to mind in Elden Ring is probably what's his name? Oh, shoot, I should know it for being
Fire
so
Giant,
addicted to these games.
Millennia.
Fire
I don't know.
Giant, yeah,
I'm
right.
just naming
Millennia,
names
that's
I
so funny.
know.
Those are good ones. Those are good ones. It's the guy, is it it starts with an R. He's like a big serpent, like a huge serpent guy, who like is it starts with an R. I can't remember exactly what his name is. I
Radon?
don't think it's
No, that's not a serpent.
no,
Isn't he
no,
a
he's like the big serpent dude, starts with an R.
Oh,
I
I'm
can't I wanna
looking.
say Riker, but I don't think it's Riker.
No way, it's Riker.
Huge
Ricard? Ricard?
Rykard, that's who it is.
Ricard.
Yes,
There you go.
Riker.
Thanks,
Ricard,
chat.
yeah, that's who it is.
Okay. Giant serpent? Like a
Yeah,
dragon or like
yeah.
a serpent?
He's like a huge serpent, and then he turns into he's still a serpent, but then there's a face on the underside of the serpent's neck, and that's the real boss. It's like really crazy. He's massive.
Oh,
He's huge, takes up a big it's like a huge arena, and he's a huge boss, and that would strike me as like a very epic kind of fight in
okay.
in an action RPG.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I like the giant sized bosses that we get to fight.
yes.
What's the biggest one in PoE2? Is it Krutog the giant? Is there I guess Torgal is pretty big too. But yeah, like an arena sized boss would be kind of sick. That you're like hitting
Yes,
different parts of the body. I have a feeling they're
exactly.
gonna go that way in Act 5 or Act 6. Like one of those bosses just gonna be blowing out anything we've seen before. That's
Mhm,
my
mhm.
expectation, especially
Oh,
for
interesting, interesting.
Act 6. Everything I've heard, it's supposed to be boss, like almost like a boss gauntlet. Like you just race from boss to boss. It's gonna be crazy, fast paced. So that's all. I'm almost
Right.
expecting an Elden Ring godly sized creatures to
A
fight at the
boss
end.
rush, interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be more like Black Myth Wukong, because
Right.
that
Yep.
game,
Was that a
yeah,
fun game
that's
too? I've heard good things about that game. You like
oh,
that?
so
Yeah.
good.
Good.
It was a little bit buggy, I think, at times, but overall,
Oh,
that was
okay.
like my favorite game of that year. And I criminally, it was not given Game of the Year. I thought it should have
Snuffed.
won that, but yeah, truly, honestly, but it was so good. This is how good that game is. That game got me to read again. I actually bought the book it was based off of,
Oh,
which is
nice.
called Journey to the West. And it's a really good book. And that game, I don't think I've ever seen a game take a source material and integrate the interesting stuff in that source material into actual game mechanics. Like,
Yeah.
the Monkey King in that book can transform into all sorts of stuff, and there's tons of transformations of the game. You transform into other characters, you transform into objects, etc. Really well done. Yeah, that game was awesome. The only thing I have that was I wish they put in that game is that you're not playing as the actual Monkey King himself. And in the book, the Monkey King is like a notorious shit talker. He is always talking crap to his opponents, like as they're fighting. I kind of wish there was some of that in the game. You
Yeah.
get it in the beginning a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Lexd, thank you so much for the chat. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on, PoE2 related or otherwise, man?
No, man, we covered a lot of it. I think we
Excellent.
hit the good marks. I think Path of Exile 2 overall, despite this league maybe being a little bit of a weaker one, is still like an awesome game. It's one of my favorites for sure. And I'm really excited to see what's coming in 0.5. I know that's probably also a popular sentiment, but
Yeah.
clearly, it's just they've got something cooking. I really want to see what the new end game looks like, because I don't hate the end game, but it is definitely probably the weakest part for me. So
Yeah, I'm in total agreement, man. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. I really appreciate it. Everybody in the live chat, everybody watching the bot, I will have Lexd's information in the description below. Make sure you go check out his YouTube channel, subscribe to it, check out his Twitch, like this video as well. And if you're this far and not subscribed to my channel, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel and make sure to share this video with one of your friends, you guys. Thank you
criminal,
so much for
criminal.
watching. Lexd, thank you so much for hopping on. I really appreciate it.
All
Have a
right,
good
man.
one, everybody. Happy 0.4.
Be easy.
Lex, thanks so much, man. That was phenomenal.